Are your friends going to be around when something big happens in your life? Let's say you go through a breakup. If you have a death in the family, do you think they'll be able to support you when you really need them the most? You may have friends that you might think are going to be there through thick and thin, but when it comes to the inevitable downs of life, support is necessary to help you maintain your own mental and emotional health. I don't think there's anything in the world that's worse than facing a tragedy with people that you think are going to be there for you, only to find out that they cannot support you. This is why I started a monthly series about our social circles. In these monthly series, we will discuss some of life's challenges. We will examine the help and support we might need to get through these particular challenges. We're all going to have to face them in some way, shape, or form, so let's be ready. This month, we're going to be talking about breakup and loss. Friendship breakups to divorces to bereavement. We're going to have a discussion about support that we need in those situations. If you don't know what you need, this is the event for you. You don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to figure it out alone. There are people who are willing to share their stories. In this series, we will have an interview with someone who's had their personal experience. We'll have a panel discussion. We'll also have a breakout session so that you can talk to people about your own experiences. And finally, we'll have a keynote speaker with powerful insight and actionable steps, because we never ever want to highlight a problem and not come with a solution. So join me on Saturday, April 22nd at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's a free event. All you need to do is register. Go to the link in the show notes to get your free tickets right now. Again, it's April 22nd at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll see you there. Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that will inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. On this episode, we're going to talk about what it means to be the, quote, therapist friend, unquote. That therapist friend, the one who can always be there to answer your problems, the one that is always supportive of you, that one that seems to have all their stuff together and can answer all your questions. We're going to talk about that person, how they really show up to their friends, their family, and their connections. Are you ready? Let's go. As a therapist friend, you are constantly listening to other people's problems. They see you as a strong and powerful ally. You know, the one who knows everything, the one who has all their emotions in check, the best ideas. They see you as a person who's glad to help. And they often will look up to you. And I imagine you as a therapist friend are really disconnected from them. And I say that because, of course, in my own personal experience, is that a person who wanted to go around fixing people's things. It's like the same as a therapist friend. I think it's maybe a more emotional piece, but people are coming to you with all their emotions, all their sadness, all their grief. And you're just like, yeah, I can fix that. Yeah, I can fix that. Doing all the things that they need. What happens when you become a therapist friend, when you share your energy in that way, you're constantly creating this relationship, or you continuously build a relationship in which you create this dynamic and you set this pattern of behavior where they can come to you with their problems and their issues and always leave with something actionable, always leave feeling better, always leave feeling heard and understood. And of course, I mean, as a therapist friend, the person who's able to have that impact on their friends, to give and to provide and to help people feel safe, heard, comfortable, understood, appreciated, all the things you do as a therapist friend. It feels great to be able to do that, right? I believe that if you're a therapist friend, you are out there genuinely trying to help. You genuinely want people around you to feel uplifted, appreciated, and all the other things that are good in this life. That's why you do what you do. And when you do this, I'd like you to consider that your friendships, your relationships, your connections become unbalanced and really great places to breed resentment. It's just like this movie Encanto. Have you seen this? It's a Disney movie that came out a couple of years ago. It's about a magical family. It's a really dope movie, all about family dynamics and patterns of behavior and all kinds of stuff like that. But there's a character in this. Her name is Luisa. She's a very, very strong, physically strong character who's constantly taking care of everybody's problems. People are looking at her and relying on her to do all of the things. And she happily does it. She happily goes around and she's like, I'm strong, I'm powerful. No one can do this the way I do it. And of course, there's a song about it. And she is breaking inside. In the movie, she's breaking inside. She's feeling a bit of weakness, but she cannot show it ever. She can't show it because her belief is that if she shows this weakness, then other people will no longer be able to have their faith in her. They won't be able to rely on her if she shows weakness. People will worry. So she worries that if she shows worries, other people will worry, right? And essentially, as a therapist friend, you get yourself locked into a position in which you can no longer share what's really deep, what's really going on inside of you as a person. Because we all know that you may have lots of answers and great ideas, but that doesn't mean that you don't have your own experiences with life that you want to share. It doesn't mean that you don't have your own set of problems and trials and tribulations. It doesn't mean that you don't have your own challenges. And we as humans, we're social creatures. We want to talk about all of our feelings. We want to. So just imagine this as a friend, as a therapist, the therapist friend. People are constantly coming to you for their problems. And you are brilliant. You have answers. You have solutions. You have ways to work around. You have ways to help them get back on their feet. Your friends, your family, your connections, they get conditioned to believe that that's your superpower and that's the only thing that you can do. They don't see the whole person that you are. And this is where the resentment builds, right here. Because you are a human who has problems, who has issues, who has trials, who has tribulations, who has all those things that the people are coming to you for. You have them all. And there are 0 people in your world that will help you. 0, none. Ooh, resentful. Here comes the language. I help all these people. They're always coming to me for things. But, when I have this one thing, they can never help me. I just ask for one little thing. They can't help me. Resentful. Why does that happen anyway? What's going on? Well, I'm not a therapist. And of course, I talk about this from my own personal experiences. But as a person who was a therapist friend and a person who was on the other side of it, all of it, I've had all this experience where I had the language in my head, running around in my head, like these people, they don't want to help me. They don't care about me. All the stuff I do for them, how dare they? How come I can't get? All that language used to roll around in my head. And I realized that I wasn't telling people that I had a problem. I didn't tell people I had a problem because I didn't trust that they could do anything with it. And I'd found a lot of evidence that I was right about me not being able to trust them because I chose people to talk to hang out with that I thought that I could solve their problems for. I could be the problem solver and I could fix all the things that they do. I was better than them. I'll say that. I was better than them. So that's what I believed because I have all the answers and they don't have any for themselves. Of course, it creates this relationship dynamic where I know more, I do more, I see more, I'm better than. And of course, I find evidence. So I have this situation in my life that perhaps I did tell somebody about, but the people in my circle were always used to looking at me as a person who could solve their problems and my own problems. Those people didn't even know who I was or how to help. And it's because I created this therapist relationship dynamic, this therapist friendship, or this fixer friendship dynamic, where I had all the answers and they had none. Of course they weren't going to be able to support me. Of course they weren't. And that just made me more frustrated, made me more resentful. But I did this. I did it. I created it. I didn't let anybody in. I didn't give an opportunity for anybody to know how to even help me. And so that's what you do as a therapist friend. Are you the therapist friend? Do you find yourself listening to others more often than not? Are you often asked for advice, or do you give your advice to friends often? Do you not open up? You don't share your challenges with others? And if you did, let's say you did open up like I did, and you asked for feedback, do your friends have any good answers for you? Can they really help you? If you said no, you might be a therapist friend. Being a therapist friend isolates you from the real close connections that you could possibly have with people who care about you. As a therapist friend, you isolate yourself and you make yourself unknowable to the people that you help. If you want to reconnect, you want to balance the relationship, you have to start opening up. You have to start sharing things about you. And you, I guarantee you, are going to watch your circle of friends change, because those people who are conditioned to come to you for the answers will no longer like the fact that they have to listen to you. You're going to see a shift. You're going to see people who come into your life who are interested in what you have to say. If you are a therapist friend and you have tons of people coming to you, 2 or 3 people, 5, 4, one person constantly coming to you for answers, and you aren't able to share with them, there's something wrong. Open up. Be vulnerable. Share your own thoughts and feelings. Share some of your challenges and listen to see if they can help you. Because being a therapist friend is not a real friend. I'll be right back with the Reddit friendship advice question. Are you tired of having boring conversations about nothing that lead to nowhere, that just feel like a waste of your time? Do you want to have deeper, more authentic connections with people in your life? Then skip the small talk and speak from the heart. My name's Coach Lee, and I'm an expert in helping people build stronger, more fulfilling social connections, both personally and professionally. If you're tired of having these boring conversations, then come to my free webinar to learn exactly how to skip the small talk and speak from the heart. Because we had such an overwhelmingly positive response to the webinars for March, I'm going to do it again this month in April. I'll be hosting these webinars twice a week, once on Wednesdays and once on Saturdays. To reserve your seat, click the link in the show notes and select the time that works best for you. Space is limited to just 10 people, so reserve your seats sooner rather than later. I'll see you there. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. How to deal with a trauma dumping friend. I'm looking for advice on how to deal with a friend who trauma dumps on me 24/7 and lives in a constant state of chaos and anxiety. So here's the background. I have a friend who has spent the last 6 years in an abusive relationship, which I helped the last 7 months to open her eyes and rescue her from. She's extremely codependent. When in this relationship, she would call me crying all the time. And originally I felt so bad for her and I truly wanted to help. She would call with her partner screaming and punching walls in the background, and it was honestly very all traumatic and awful. Flash forward to December 2022, where her abusive partner up and left. I genuinely thought I was going to have to be on the suicide watch duty but she bounced back and she was much better than I thought. I thought she was always in a state of chaos because of him, but since then she still calls me and just stirs and creates drama and chaos from nothing. She currently is seeing someone new who has informed me that he doesn't want a relationship, but she continues to see him and just create drama and calls me constantly. I'm talking like 5 times a day, as well as sends me a novel-size back-to-back text, and if I don't answer, about chaos and drama. So back-to-back texts if I don't answer about the chaos and drama. Okay, so if they don't answer the phone, she will send a text message. I work an extremely tough job and long hours, and I haven't been taking care of myself, and I'm just finding her absolutely exhausting to the point where I've been deleting my social media off and on to avoid her sending me 20 reels to watch a day. I've suggested she seek out a therapist or someone qualified to help her grow and overcome past trauma, but she doesn't put any effort in. I've also advised her to work on healing, but instead she goes out to parties, and I can't fault her because for 6 years she was with someone who flipped out anytime she left the house. I recently went on vacation and asked her not to contact me or send me a bunch of stuff and just let me decompress and relax. My question: how do I approach her and tell her I think she's toxic without it seeming like an attack? Or maybe I'm just an asshole and I should be there for her. What do you think? Well, Redditor, I want to thank you for writing in. This sounds very intense and traumatic for you as well, having to hear all the chaos and stuff in the background and having your peace disturbed because they want your constant attention. So your question is, how can I approach her and tell her I think she's toxic without it seeming like an attack? Well, it's really difficult. One of the things that I've discovered is that when you tell people about themselves and what they do, it feels like a judgment, especially if it's something that can be perceived as negative, like what's happening here. I mean, the word toxic is negative for most people. They don't see the value in having that label placed upon them. And I say the value in it because when I think about toxicity, I think about if I label something as toxic, if I say it's toxic, it's something that I have a desire to change. That's what I think about in toxic relationships, friendships, connections. If it's toxic, there's something fundamental about the character of the person, their actions and behaviors, or something that you want to change. And that's it. That's what's happening here. You see that she is not taking care of herself. She's constantly reaching out to you, and she's taking a bit of your peace. She's doing things that disturb you, and you wish her to stop doing those things. So I would just say this is toxic. The connection that you have is toxic. However, if you want to take that label and place it upon them and say you are the toxic person, it leaves you without the responsibility that you have in this relationship. Now I hear you saying, I read it. I hear you saying, I read it. I read it. I'm telling you, I read it. You're saying that you want this to stop. You want to get out of it. You're ready to let go. You're ready to let go. And I want to submit to you that sharing with them that they are the problem without owning the piece of it that is your piece, your part, your responsibility, like because you answered the text messages, that's your piece. Because you pick up the phone, because you constantly try and you reinsure and you connect, you communicate, you have a connection that doesn't feel great to you. It's toxic. It's something that you wish to change, right? But the connection can only exist because you participated in it. That's it. And so when you go to people and you say, you're the problem, you relieve yourself from all of the responsibility for all the role that you had in the connection, you know. So the only thing that you can change here is yourself. And so you want to know how you can tell her that you think she's toxic without feeling like it's an attack, with the controlling her feelings and making sure that she feels uplifted and supported and appreciated, or something along those lines. Not even that. I'm pretty dramatic with that, uplifted and appreciated. You just don't want her to feel bad. But if you tell someone it's all your fault, and in any way, shape, or form, they're gonna feel bad. They may feel bad about that. You're toxic. And what I'd like to do is help you with a bit of the language and how we connect and we share. I'd like you to refocus away from her and her actions and behaviors and labeling her as something that you wish to change, and talk about the changes that you can control, which are yours, and your own feelings and understanding those feelings. So I imagine when we connect with people and we share who we are, we share our ideas, we have a conversation with them. What we do is we take our own thoughts and our feelings from our own point of view, our own unique perspective of the experience, and we share them with others. And it's most effective when we talk about it from our own point of view. We talk about it using I language. I feel this way. I want this. It's not I want you to. I feel that you should. It's I want, and this is what I will do. These are actions and behaviors that I will have. I will enact, because that's all you can control. You give that to them as a gift of what it is that happens, what it is that you feel. You give that as a gift to them. And what they do with that gift is up to them. It's up to them. They can stomp on it. They can get mad at you, throw it back in your face. You said this. You said that. Da. And you say from your own space, from your own existence, from your own experience, because that's the most powerful place you can speak from. You give them an opportunity to hear what you have to say and how you feel and know your experience. And in return, you will get a genuine, authentic response from them. So when you tell them that you don't feel good when you're getting 20 reels to watch a day, I don't feel good. I don't want 20 reels. I don't want 20 reels to watch each day. I don't want a wall of text messages from you. I don't want to call you. I don't want to listen to your phone calls. I don't want to listen to the drama that you're having, that you have. And there's it's all about you and your needs. What you do is you share you and your needs to them and hope that they will respond to you in a way that they appreciate, knowing that they appreciate your needs. And in this case, even if you want to say to them, look, I don't feel at peace with listening to all your drama. Listening to that, that's terrible. Don't say that. Listening to all your drama. We want to try and make it as clean as possible. And we want to talk about these three things. I'm going to talk about the event. There's a specific event that has happened. So sending you 20 reels, that's an example. Just one event. We're going to talk about them as separate as possible. We want to just zero in on one specific event. Then how you feel about that event. You want to talk about your feelings behind that. Overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed when there's 20 reels a day to watch. And why? Because I have other things to do. I feel overwhelmed because I have a job. I have other responsibilities that need my attention. And you talk about how you feel and you share that with them from your point of view and what you're going to do from your point of view. So I'm overwhelmed. I'm not going to answer your messages. I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just not going to do it. You talk about you. And talk about you. Because you want to protect your peace. It's not because they're toxic. because you want to protect your peace. You want to do something for you. All right? You're saying yes to yourself more so than you're saying no to them. And it's really important to make sure you have that distinction, because that is the cleanest way you can possibly deliver information to people who really can't understand your point of view. You just keep talking about your point of view and enact upon your point of view, your own feelings. So I'd encourage you to tell them that. Isolate some specific instances and talk about that event, how you feel about that event, and why you feel that way. Share that with them all from your point of view, and then talk about the specific actions and behaviors that you're going to do afterward. Say, look, I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to answer your text messages. I'm not going to respond to your reels. Let them know so that they're not surprised. That's all you can do. Being the asshole in this situation, I want to encourage you not to think about someone being right or wrong, good or bad. It just is. You have feelings about the situation. And I'd ask you, as I ask everybody else, is to honor your own feelings. That's authenticity. Honor them. Express them fully to the person you're talking to. And again, it's from your point of view. It's your feelings. It's not judgment upon them. Because when you add this good, bad value stuff, you add asshole, jerk, you start calling yourselves these names, the judgment upon it gets you stuck in the situation. Gets you stuck. Like, maybe I shouldn't do that because I'm an asshole. I'm going to really hurt them. No, what about you? And besides which, because you're hurt, you're definitely, I want to say definitely, but eventually you may strike back upon them. You may, all the feelings that you're bottling up inside, one day they're just going to explode. They're going to, boom, it's going to explode on them. So I'd ask you to release that tension and that energy and share it with them authentically. Let them know how you feel. So as a therapist friend, I want to tie this back to being a therapist friend. As a therapist friend, you could definitely see how this is really frustrating. Like, it can get to these points where people are just constantly relying on you and not seeing you as a person, not seeing the impact that your information or that their experiences and them constantly dumping on you feels awful to you. They don't even see that. They don't even see you as a person who has real feelings. You have to make it known. There must be some give and take. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.